welcome back to another episode here with Princeton Microgreens. Today I'm going to be going over a little bit about microgreen trays and also doing a review on the brand new Bootstrap Farmer trays that just came out a few weeks ago that have a little bit, a few different features that I really like. But first, I guess the noticeable difference here, right, would be, your older trays, not older, but I've been using these trays for many months before I kind of switched over to the Bootstrap Farmer trays. And this is just your typical, tree leaf market, 2-3 inch trays here, black, really kind of flimsy, and I guess the number one thing, with this tray compared to the Bootstrap Farmer trays would definitely be like the cleanup involved. This material that I guess it's made out of, it really grips the roots when they kind of grow down, and they get, the roots kind of get hard if you don't wash them right away, and they tend to stick. I actually, even after scrubbing and sanitizing everything, I still have every once in a while I have like a little piece of a root over here that's just it's almost like it glues itself onto it. I don't know why. I don't know what kind of material this is made out of, but that's the number one issue I had with these trays. The second issue is I really don't like the tall trays for several different reasons. So first being that the airflow, it doesn't allow, like I have fans on here, and this tray is really tall. So my microgreens, it would actually make it so my microgreens, even though they were tall, they weren't getting the proper airflow because these lips were kind of blocking that airflow, right? I guess the way to combat that is to put extra like soil or coir or medium in there. That way it stands up really tall, but then you're wasting money because then you have a couple inches of coir in there that you really don't need, right? You really only need like a 1/4 inch of medium in your trays. So if you're filling it all the way to the top, again, it's just a waste, right? So that's the number one thing is definitely that airflow. And two, when you go to harvest your microgreens, right, it makes it really tough to harvest because you have to really get the knife kind of down into the tray and kind of cut towards the bottom. And these lips just really block that knife from enabling you to get a really nice cut for your microgreens. So while these trays are cheap, that is definitely the pro. I think these trays are right around $1 a tray, right? Which is extremely affordable. You get 100 trays for $100. I mean, it's dirt cheap, and that's how I started growing. That's how I started my business. I was able to, when you're starting a business, you're trying to pinch pennies, right? So you're trying to save money everywhere you can. But eventually, when I decided to bite the bullet and go for these Bootstrap Farmer trays, and I've had these ones for a couple months now. And these are the older Bootstrap Farmer trays that they came out with some time ago. But these, I think, were roughly $4 to $5 per tray. So for a set of trays, I mean, you were talking about $9, $10, somewhere around there. And I know that seems expensive. And again, it really took me a while to say to myself, you know what? These trays just aren't working out for me. I'm going to bite the bullet. I'm going to buy, good 60 trays. Let's see how they work out for me. And I was actually kind of blown away almost instantaneously when I got them. So what I did was when I planned it for the first time, the first thing I noticed actually was the fact how easy they were to clean. I guess the surface of this is it's a much different surface. This, for some reason, it just grips those roots and it just locks them in and glues them. So it really takes a lot. Not only that, but the grooves in here are actually quite deep, right? So when it comes to cleaning these trays with like a scrub brush, it's really hard to kind of get down in those grooves in order to clean those roots as well, which also made it easier. And in these grooves, they're a little bit shallower, right? So it really allows you to be able to clean it a lot easier as well. Not only that, but these trays are kind of made to where you can almost just wash the roots away because it's almost like a non-stick surface, which is tremendous, right? Another thing I really like about these trays is that I'm actually able to, because the material and also the color, you can kind of select whatever color you want. I don't go with black. The reason why I don't go with black is because it allows me to use like a dry erase marker and actually put right on the front here, you know, arugula, broccoli, radish, you know, cabbage, whatever, and I just write it right on. And by the time I'm done and I go to wash my trays, it washes right off so easy. So I don't need to have to sit there. I used to actually use, look at this tray right here, you'll laugh. I actually did like labels, and I was actually putting labels on these trays because I kind of didn't know what else to do to kind of label what I was growing, right? I mean, it gets to the point where I can actually look at everything I see here, right? And know that this is spicy salad mix, know that this is cilantro, know that that's sunflower, that's pea, and so forth. But you're gonna have, you know, early on, you know, you might not be able to tell like a mustard from maybe like a broccoli, let's say. I mean, they're so similar in the way they look that it kind of takes a little bit of skill, I guess. But over time, you'll get used to that, and you'll start to pick out the differences. I do like the label regardless, just so I don't know, I don't have to think, I guess, right? But yeah, so these trays definitely, you know, allow for that, which I really like with these as well. So. But yeah, that's kind of that's the older Bootstrap Farmer trays that have been out for quite some time. Now recently, a few weeks ago, I decided to get more Bootstrap Farmer trays. I didn't know that they actually had a new model of Bootstrap Farmer trays until recently. They were on back order for a couple, I'm gonna say 1 to 2 months. Bootstrap Farmer was completely out of trays. Waiting on them to come in for quite some time because I was actually getting to the point where I was running out of trays on a weekly basis. I actually do a few restaurants, and what was happening is I give my restaurants a full tray of microgreens, and I do a tray exchange. And it really allows them to kind of put it in like their walk-in refrigerator. They have one shelf that they keep just for the microgreens. It's dark all the time. Excuse me, and that actually stalls the growth of your microgreens. And then they just cut fresh whenever they need them. They bring like 1 tray out a day, and then they'll use that for the course of the day for all their servings, you know, their plating, I should say. And then they just wash the tray off, and they give me the trays back. But I was getting a few restaurants where, you know, 5 restaurants for this tray, 4 for the 5 trays for this restaurant, 4 trays for that restaurant, and so forth. And it was kind of eating my trays up until I did a tray exchange. And again, I was just running out of trays. So I needed more, and I just got these in, and I kind of fell in love with them. Like, I didn't think they could do any better than this, but they kind of crushed it. These new Bootstrap Farmer trays are phenomenal. I'm really in love with them. One of the cool new key features that I think is awesome about it is that with their old trays, because this would get kind of heavy, right? These trays get kind of heavy. You got water in the bottom. You got the medium, and you have the crop growing on top. And what was happening is when you would go to lift to put water in, it was really tough to lift. You didn't have like a lip or anything here. I would actually take my water, and I would like try to like stick it in this crack and like kind of pry it open, and I was kind of bending the trays a little bit and lifting it up, and it wasn't perfect. And they decided to actually go ahead and actually put a lip on these trays in front. And I know it doesn't seem like much, but it saves so much time because it takes me, you know, sometimes 10, 15 seconds to lift a tray to now almost 1 to 2 seconds. And over time, you know, 15 minutes here every day, I mean, that saves me it sounds weird, but it saves me like an hour a week by just having an extra stupid lip, right? So everything compounds. You know me. I a little over exaggerate, but I'm just trying to get my point across, right? So it allows me to kind of lift that tray up extremely easy. I literally just go ahead, grab it, lift up, boom. It's so easy. Now I just go to my trays, lift, pop, lift, pop, lift, pop, water, 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 water. And so forth. But not only that, they actually have a really nice kind of a matte, beautiful feel to them now, right? They just look so much better. They feel so much better, and when they wash, I couldn't believe it, they actually wash even better than these. They don't, so what I've noticed is some crops like cilantro, for instance, the roots kind of get in and actually kind of turn the tray a little yellow. Now that does wash off, and you definitely want to wash that off because if you let that sit in there, you know, that will kind of get into your crop, it'll get into your roots, and you know, you'll start to have issues, you'll have, you know, some dampening off and such like that I've noticed if you really don't clean these trays well. I'll put a link to my sanitation video up here. It kind of shows, you know, what we use to sanitize all these trays and such, and how to really get some of those, you know, get all that yellow off and everything. Which again is why I really like these white trays as opposed to any other color, because the white really allows me to show whether or not the trays are clean or not, right? If there's any coloration on the white, it will come off. You know, some of you may think, wow, white, that's kind of bold. You're putting dirt in it, you know, you're scrubbing it and so, but it really allows me to see whether or not this tray is clean, which is super important when growing microgreens. Sometimes the slightest little thing can really send your microgreens off into a spiral, downward spiral. So it's really important that you can see whether or not your trays are clean. Again, these new trays, they clean even better than the old Bootstrap Farmer trays, and they're still the same price, right? But other than that, I mean, for the most part, it's the same size. You know, they're about an inch tall. It allows for the airflow with the smaller trays, which I really like. I'm kind of sad that I purchased these ones a few months. Well, I'm just sad that all my trays aren't like these new ones now, right? I almost wanna repurchase some of these, more of these new ones because they're so awesome. But I mean, these ones are still just as good. They work just as well. I just, you know, now I have essentially 3 kinds of different trays going. What I will say though that these black trays are really good for is doing blackout. You know, you definitely want the 2-3 inch tall height here, just because it allows, you know, when you put it on here, it allows the greens to grow a little tall and blackout, which is super important, obviously. And if you were to put like, you know, something like this on top, I mean, what would happen is it would just start lifting this up, and then, you know, light would start getting in because it's just not tall enough, right? So it's no big deal. I have plenty of these trays, and I use them for blackout now, and I also use them. I'll also put them on top for germination as well to keep them nice and dark. That's the one downward thing about these green trays is that they were letting a little bit of light through. Now here's what I did notice about these new trays, which is awesome, right? So what was happening was when I would go ahead and, for instance, I would put this in germination. These green trays, it's kind of hard to see in the camera here, but you're gonna have to trust me. The light was kind of seeping through these green trays just because they're kind of clear, right? So when I would put it on, and I would go in, you know, we would go into a germination phase, they weren't germinating really well because the light was still penetrating, right? And when the light penetrates, your seeds just don't germinate well. So if you're seeing that and you have kind of somewhat of a clear tray, not 100% clear, even if it just lets in like 10% of the light, it's still gonna affect your germination, right? That's why I was using these black trays on top of germination. But I will say that these new green trays don't let that light through. They change the material. It's kind of more of a matte. It's not see-through at all, and it doesn't let that light penetrate. And I actually did a test where I actually grew because I noticed a color difference here, and when I used it to germinate, it was flawless, right? So again, I won't need to really be using these black trays for germination anymore. I will just be using them for blackout. But that's just in my grow area, in my grow space, and how I do things now. You're gonna come up with your own ways. You're gonna experiment, do a little trial and error. And that's kind of the fun of growing microgreens. That's why I love doing it so much, because there's so many different ways to do things. So yeah, I tell people all the time, microgreens it's not like following a recipe. I know I have down in the description box of all my videos, I have a link to like a grow guide for all the microgreens, right? And it says, you know, 3 days germination, 2 days of blackout, and so forth. And that's more or less like a rough guide to get get you where you need to be, but like you shouldn't have to follow that. I guess what I'm trying to say is that it's all about look and feel with microgreens, right? And that's kind of the point of this channel and these videos, is to get you to be comfortable with that look and feel, right? To see what my greens look like after X day, or so forth, and then show you why I'm taking it at blackout, right? I just took this spicy salad mix out of blackout, and the reason why I took it out of blackout wasn't because it was day 4 or 5. It was because this is how it looked, and that's what you should go off of. Not necessarily, oh, well, it's day 5 and it said in the grow guide I have to take it out of blackout. Well, no, like that's not the point of the grow guide, right? It's you take it out of blackout because it's ready to be taken out of blackout, because it looks like this. So I'll stop rambling. I know this isn't about that today's video. I kind of get thoughts in my head and I just kind of go off in tangents. So anyways, but yeah, so that's the difference in the trays. I really think that you're really going to love the new Bootstrap Farmer trays. If you want to find out where to buy them, the link is below in the description box. Go ahead and click on it, and I believe I have a link for like the different color trays. You can also get the black trays, but again, the black trays are a little bit cheaper, but I really like being able to use that dry erase marker on the colored ones, because it really pops. I have everything labeled here. I just write down what it is, then it wipes right off when you go to clean it. So, but yeah, hopefully you like this video. I'm kind of trying to figure out different videos. There's so much to talk about when it comes to the microgreens. I'm constantly trying to innovate and look up what people are asking questions about, and try to gear my videos towards those questions, I guess you can say. So, but yeah, hopefully you like this video. Go ahead and write in the comment box below if you have any questions. And other than that, we'll see you next week for next video. All right, bye-bye. Hello everyone, Peter here from Princeton Microgreens. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. Also, if you have any ideas, suggestions, or questions, feel free to leave them below in the comment box. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.